Well, welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the Texas to Tennessee podcast with Soul Gravy. And today we are fortunate enough to have one of my favorite folks on here, and his name is Jon Kott. Welcome, Jon. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me, fellas. It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, look, I've been looking forward to this hour for a while, so very excited.
After I dipped out about an hour into our happy hour, and I don't remember why.
No, that was wonderful. I think I might have ended up with a few of your things, which we'll talk about later. But
Please tell me it's one of these hats.
It is.
Yeah, there it is. That's where it ended up with.
Yeah, I got it. I'll get it to you.
Awesome.
All right, so I think I've got a little bit of a home court advantage on this, but for maybe the folks who aren't super familiar with you, do you mind just taking a couple of minutes and giving us a little bit of your musical background?
Yeah, I've been doing it my whole life. It's no joke when I say that. This is how I've been making a living for the last 25, 30 years of my life. I've been fortunate and lucky, but I was raised in a house where my dad had always was playing the guitar. He was like a hobbyist, but he was a beast of a classical guitar player. So I was raised in a house where there was somebody playing an instrument, and then my brother started playing bass, and we had this killer record collection. And this was like the late 70s, early 80s, man. So we had a killer hi-fi system with, my dad had built speakers into the side of the family room. So it was a thing. Music was a thing. My dad had killer taste in music. So I was raised around it. I love, it just always got my juices going, and it got me pumped up. So I've just, ever since I was a kid, music was a big part of my life. So once I figured out that I could pick up a guitar and I could play it and I could start singing. Those two things took some time, between the time when you figure out how to play guitar and then the time when you figure out when you can sing and play the guitar.
Right.
Sometimes I still can't. People will tell you that too. So
Not true.
It's a process, but man, once I found it, it's like nothing. I've done drugs, I've done all kinds of things, but that is the one thing that I've never been able to put down. It's just music, man. It's it. And I've traveled all over the country now. So born and raised in Texas. My career actually started up in Detroit, Michigan. Was when I was old enough to kind of get out and start playing clubs. I was living up there. And things went really fast for us up there. We were real successful. And then I moved to Florida, did it in the Panhandle for a while. And then I came back over here. I've been over here for about 10 years now.
Nice.
Back where it all started.
Fantastic. And then I guess musically, I know, at least from a little bit that I think I know, your music has always had a little bit more of an edge than a lot of the what I would call traditional Texas country.
Yeah.
How did you kind of find your way into, I guess, being grouped with all the Texas country artists?
So to be honest with you, it's a complete mistake. Like it's not that it was a mistake. It was not intentional. Like some guys are trying to do that. I unknowingly was doing it the whole time. Just up in Michigan when I started, I was a huge fan of Cross Canadian Ragu when they came out. Like that was my art. That was when I was trying. Was when they were trying, kind of a thing. So that style of music was just kind of, I don't know where he got his from, but it's. When you listen to Texas country and then you got 80s rock and you got all this, 70s rock and stuff, it just kind of felt natural to go that way. Everything has always been, the best way to say it is when we did our first record showcase in LA, they straight up said to us, you guys are just too country for rock and you're too rock for country. We don't know what to do with you. And I was like, now when I hear that and I hear what's on there, I'm like, dude, we were just too early. That's all it is now.
Right. For sure.
But I love rock music, country music. I don't know. I people ask me all the time what's my favorite, and I refuse to pick. I can't. I don't know what my favorite would be.
You can love both. It's fine.
Yeah.
This question is the strangest one I'll ask you tonight, I think. But it helps us kind of wrap our head around where you come from musically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a pie. And I want you to divide it up into 4 kind of sections. So the first section is songwriting or the creation of the art. The second section is recording. Third section is performing. And then the fourth piece of pie is the business. So from your perspective, where do you spend your time? Maybe percentage wise, where do you feel like you are naturally, the most inclined to have success in?
It started on the stage. I think I just thrive in front of a crowd. It's another one of those things that if you come see us in front of nobody and you come see us in front of a whole lot of people, it's a totally different show. Like,
Right.
I get off on a big crowd, and it brings something out of me that no other part of the business can. But I think stage performing has always been what's kind of kept this band. I mean, songwriting's great, and I love being in the studio, and I know that I'm a decent businessman because I've been able to keep this afloat for so long.
Right.
But on stage is what sells it. I mean, every time. I wouldn't. I think you'd probably have to go 50% of that pie would be performance for me.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
And is that something that you knew right when you first got on stage?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
You immediately got the.
I was doing it before I was like, it was back then. Like I was that kid that we have photos and videos of me as a little kid just performing in front of any group of people I could get to pay attention to me for a second. I was, look at me, watch me do this kind of thing,
Nice. Soul Gravy, would you like to hop in?
Yeah.
It is your show.
Oh, well, no, it bought time, to be honest, because TikTok had no sound for a minute, so we're good now. It all worked out like it's supposed to. I was going to ask, as far as, I'm sure at the beginning you were doing cover stuff, like most everybody. When did the new or original stuff start to creep
So
in?
it actually is opposite. We started as an original band. Like I wasn't good at learning chords and structure and things like that, and I couldn't learn other people's songs, so I just started writing from the get-go. And so we were a pretty sloppy rockabilly style band to start with, but like I said, we had this good presence, and our live show was fun, and it drew people in. And then we started taking the songwriting a little bit more serious. And I mean, the first 10 years we didn't do we would do like one cover, as like a encore or something like that. We'd hit a Willie song or hit the band, do something that we liked, some band that we were fans of. But then once the record deal stuff all kind of fell through, and we got humbled pretty hard after that, and I needed to make a living, and I wasn't on the road, so I started playing acoustic solo gigs because by then I was skilled enough to figure it out. But I stopped writing for a solid 15 years, dude. I don't even know if it was writer's block, but I could tell you that anytime I sat down and write something, it would be about a 2 to 3 minute process, and I was done. It just didn't feel good. I felt forced. Felt like I was trying something I shouldn't be trying. And so I just kept doing covers. And I will say that the one thing with doing covers was I think it really helped me kind of get out of that hole, because it helped me hear other people, and I got inspired by certain songs I was covering and stuff like that. And then the first song that I officially wrote was No Paradise, and that was during COVID. I had lots of stuff. I've got like probably a disgusting amount of voice notes in my phone of songs that I tried to write and pieces of things from the last 15 years. But the first song that was successfully written that made me go, holy shit, I think I'm back, I think I can write again, was that song 2020. So it's pretty freaking new to me again. Like it's new.
I think who was it? Talbot, was it? Edie was talking about how doing the cover stuff a lot of times would help you kind of, like you said, find new styles and new, kind of change lanes a little bit.
Yeah, it really did. It opened me up, and I was like, oh man, that's cool. And sometimes you could start singing your own melodies or singing the songs a little bit differently, and go, oh, well, I mean, I'm still creative. I've still got that in me. But it was a long drought of just nothing. But it took one song that I was really stoked about. When No Paradise, I still to this day, I mean, I've written a ton of songs since then that I haven't recorded yet, but No Paradise I love it. Like that's the one song I can listen to, except for the last minute of dead air. I don't know if y'all have ever found that. You ever found that on that song yet?
Yeah.
To the end of the song, there's a minute of dead air that will forever be on that song on all streaming sites.
Hey, you know what? That's one way to keep them there.
Yeah, is
They're waiting for the secret song.
yeah, they're just going to. He might be whispering something in there. No.
Right.
It's,
Backwards tracks.
yeah, that's
Yes.
what I was going to say. In the '70s, they would have accused you of, speaking
Yes.
to the devil and the yeah.
I wish it was that cool and not just a complete noob mistake.
That's
Yep.
okay. I posted a podcast the other day where the last 5 minutes or whatever is nothing. I don't even know what all it was, but yeah. Now I don't
It
I
happens.
don't want to repost it again now.
Right.
But
Walking
either
around,
way,
discussing, talking to yourself.
I don't even know what it was. But either way, nothing bad.
Can I
Anyway.
dig in on the 15-year period just a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, just so John, I'm curious. You said maybe a little bit of writer's block. Do you think there was a chance you were just kind of burnt out on everything, or was it?
I mean, it was a dark time for me, man. I mean, honestly, I could talk about it now because it's been so long. But I was wrapped up in drugs, man. I wasn't like a heroin addict or anything. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I mean, I was doing coke way too much. If I wasn't on coke, I was high. I was drunk. I had to be something, and my mother was dying of cancer at that time too. So it was a rough period of going through that, and then like trying to go on the road, and she was real pumped and real happy about it and wanted to see shows. And so when she passed, it just sent me into this, fuck everything kind of, just I'm done.
Right.
And I just started playing shows, and I was just getting obliterated, like I was just getting blown out of my mind every night. And I'm sure it was it probably wasn't good shows, but it was good enough to keep me going.
Right.
And then I decided at one point, that's when I was like, I'm going to pick it up. Things in Michigan are just, they're out of control. I'm going to pick up. We're going to move down to Florida, down to the Panhandle. I'm going to get a fresh start. I got away from it all. And I started working a lot when I got down to Florida. I mean, I was 5 nights a week because as soon as I moved in, again, it was one of those where they were like, holy shit, this guy's good. So I got work thrown at me left and right. So I stayed busy, stayed off drugs, just was still drinking because it was the beach. But it really, that was a big part of it, of getting me out of that hole. But it was just the times that I would try to write. It was so depressing and dark. And I like a sad song like everybody. But they were just dark. They just weren't good. Nobody wants to hear what I was writing. I mean, it just pushed me to stop. And at that point, I just kind of pulled away, and my life was at that point I was going through a divorce. I mean, it was a whole lot was going on in those years.
Stuff going on, yeah.
And I met my wife, my current wife, and it was like this, light just went off. I was like, holy crap, there's something better. Like she's way better than what I have, and it makes my life, makes me happy. This is so great. So, that was that thing, and then we had a son, and it's just all that stuff together just kind of brought the right juices back together inside of me. That was like,
nice.
I think I might try it again.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you did.
I am too.
And then you kind of alluded to this a little bit, and I'm not sure I know about this, but you talked a little bit about a record deal.
We signed this developmental deal with Maverick Records back in it was with Dan Colucci and Hugo. Do you remember the band Tantric? They used to be
sure.
Days of the New.
Yep.
So Hugo was a real good friend of mine from Michigan. So when he got that job, he got on with Maverick, and I was on the same management company as him. So they immediately came to us, and they were like, bring him out to LA. So they flew us out. They bought out the Viper Room, and we did our own private showcase in the Viper Room. They loved it, but obviously we were too this or that. But they were like, we'll let's develop these guys, put us on the road with some shows with Nickelback and Alice in Chains, and did some great stuff. I mean, we were playing some amphitheaters and some huge shows that just, this was when Nickelback was the top of the world. I mean, I know they're still pretty big, but this was when they were coming out and just conquering. So we got lucky getting opening slots for a band at that level. So they had a lot of faith in us, but this was also during the time that, this is the way it was explained to me, that Deftones were like the big band that was on that label. And I guess they had spent years in the studio recording their album and just drained the Maverick Records of their money. This is how, like I said, this is how it was explained to me. And that after that album came out, it kind of flopped and didn't do as well. And Maverick pretty much just
money was gone. Yeah.
And that was all of us. Everybody just started scrapping. At that point, too, Napster was coming out. I'm just dating the shit out of myself right now. But all that stuff started happening. And all of a sudden, record labels were just, in like, oh, shit, what, music's free right now. Nobody, it was a weird time. So, yeah, we had it. We were right there. And then it just washed away.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when did the country thing really start to creep in more? I know you still got an attitude show, but you're able to kind of mix yourself into the Texas country world there.
It's like I said too. It's weird. Like we were back in the day. We were playing with Blue Mountain or Hank 3, and we were playing with all these different rockabilly, insurgent kind of alt country bands is what they were calling them back then.
Right.
So we were fitting in really great with guys like that, old 97s, playing shows with guys like that. And so we were in that vein. It was a little bit more rockabilly than it is now. Now the songs have more structure. Back then it was just about a train track beat and just hustling at it and going at it. Now, I don't know. I mean, I've always been a songwriter, I like a chorus, I like a structure, I like a verse, I like a chorus, I like a pre-chorus, I like a bridge. I like to have that together. So that kind of, I guess, pulled me out of that and pushed me more towards country, because to me, country's just got that, it's structured that way to me. But I don't know. I don't think it's ever really gotten out of me. I think, to be honest, I tried harder to be more rock than it was like more of an effort to be less country, I guess is what I should say.
I got you.
Right.
So it just it's coming more naturally to me now. And honest to God, I'm doing everything I can when I write right now to not try and do anything. Like, I just want it to come out, and I don't want to try to sound like anybody. I don't want to sit there and go, well, this song fit here, kind of a thing. So it's dangerous. It may not work, but at least I'm happy with what I'm putting out right now.
Yeah, it's you.
Yeah. It's me. For the first time, I can honestly say there's no ulterior motive behind the music. It's just I'm so stoked to be putting it out again.
That's cool to hear, and it makes it easier for everybody to back and support. To be honest, when no matter where the music's coming from, there's tons of markets in the world that are pushing music that's not authentic. So, and it's harder to support those artists and to know that somebody's doing something that's authentic and them. It makes you want to support that person. I'm sure you find the same thing.
I agree. I mean, there's so many bands out there right now that most people never know of that are just fantastic, man. They're
really are.
Yeah,
they're the ones you would be wearing their shirts and
exactly.
Yeah, we did have a couple of questions on the on TikTok. They want to know about your team that you had. I know that's a question we usually try to ask anyway. So, what's your team look like these days?
Which team?
Just your support team, folks in your band.
We can talk sports too if you want to.
No, I'm a Lions fan, and my team is pretty good right now.
Exactly. That's why he's wanting to. Understood.
The team is great. I go through a lot of players. Because it's a grind. I run it like a business. It's just easier that way. It's easier if I just tell the guys, here's your, here's where we're going. This is what we're doing. Everything's set. Y'all just show up with your instruments and just kill it. And I've been really fortunate to put together fantastic bands. And the lineup I've got right now is unbelievable. I've just got this new kid named Lee, who's a pedal steel player, who's still kind of playing with Tanner Sparks. I don't know if y'all know him.
Another
Texas country guy. So he's been shuffling between us, but I'm hoping this next year he's going to be more all of ours. And then I've got Grant. I just hired this guy Grant from San Antonio, and man, he's a ripper on guitar, just a monster. And he's got a big, beautiful mane of hair. Nice. The band is great. My trusty left-hand man is Chase on drums, and I got Corey on bass. And the band is fantastic. They're hard workers. They're great players. And other than that, it's me. Like I'm kind of a control freak when it comes to the business side of it. And I hope I don't have to be much longer, just because it's exhausting. But I have a lot of relationships and a lot of things that I've built over the years. So I like to know where things are every day. I get up and I want to make sure things are done. So team wise, it's just me and the boys. It's us. We're against the world.
And was it Chase or Corey that sent you into the shoulder issue?
That was a rib, and that was Chase.
Oh, rib. Sorry. Yeah.
That was a broken rib. That was a broken rib, and it was courtesy of Chase helping me get to bed.
Right. Yeah, I felt bad for you. There's nothing worse if you've ever had a broken. I mean, there are things worse, but if you've ever had a broken rib, it kind of slows you down a bit.
It was like I said. I told you in the past. I've told people, I'm like, I probably got a broken rib. I did something pretty bad. I don't know what this is. Until you really know, like until I got that X-ray, because I'm like, this is way worse to me than I've had. I'm like, oh, dude, that's when that lady said, she goes, what did you do to your rib?
Wasn't so much me.
Wasn't so much me. It was that big hoss behind me.
So you feeling better now?
I am. I'm feeling. I'm
mostly recovered.
I will say I just had fluid drain from my knee today, so I'm just going through stuff, dude.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Trying to keep the team going.
Yeah, you just got to keep going, man. I'm competing with a bunch of young people, dude. I've got 20-year-olds in my band. It's you got to keep up. You got to keep them on the toes.
One more thing from TikTok. They said,
sure.
And we all know the answer to this. I think at least me and you do. But as far as TikTok and your socials, they want to know is that when there's a reply or a comment on a post that you're tagged in, that's you.
100% me. Okay. I pride myself in that too. It just I watched a lot of what Sam did. To watch, because Sam and Donald and I have been super close for over a decade now. I mean, he's my boy. I talk to him pretty much every day. Like, it's just when he started this, when he started TikTok, I was like, nope, dude, nope, go have fun. And then I watched it and I was like, when you see it happen to somebody that you know personally, and you watch that explosion, and then you watch the way he does, and I watch the way that he replies to. Sam's the same way. Sam replies to all that stuff. That's Sam, and his job is way harder than mine, dude. I mean, that dude's replying to, 650,000 fans or whatever he's got right now. But no, every day it's me. Again, I wouldn't let anybody run my TikTok. It's all me. It's me posting those crazy videos that my drummer takes. When we're on the road. It's either Jeff, if I can find Jeff is shooting for me, or if he's not anywhere where we are, if my drummer and I get up on Saturday mornings and we go find a patch of woods and we make videos and we post them and we comment. It's always me.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Two things that I think are impressive. So not everybody has the ability at a certain age to be able to kind of go backwards with like social media, and I don't know how the best way to say this, but like it says a lot about your ability to adapt.
Yeah.
Because if I were to say, the average age of somebody on TikTok's probably 16 to 25. That's probably even being a little safe, but
yeah.
I think it says a lot about your willingness to adapt, and that speaks a little bit to folks from that Gen X group where they had to grow up and not exactly understand everything that was going on, but kind of catch up to speed. So shout out to you for that.
Thank you.
And then the other thing,
it's not easy, but it works.
Yeah. The other thing I would say is, at least from my experience, not taking advantage of communicating with folks that are interested in your music is a complete waste, because it's like free market research.
Absolutely.
I mean, if somebody's going to take time out of their day to say, hey, I liked your music, or they have a question or whatever it might be, like, there are lots of people that pay a lot of money to get that information, and you can, essentially get it for, it's not free because you got to put the effort in. But that being said, shout out to you on that as well. Thank you,
man. It really, like I said, if it hadn't, it's not working unbelievably, but it's still growing at a steady pace every time. And I'm thankful. Anybody that stops by and writes a comment or listens or says something positive about something that I posted, dude, that's great. Absolutely. That's enforcing what I'm doing. And I'm absolutely going to make sure, and I can't shake your hand because you're not in front of me, but I will definitely reply back and thank you for taking your time.
Yeah, it's the same as somebody meeting you at the merch table after a show. As
Absolutely.
far as
100%.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yep.
that's the foundation of a fan base. You know, no
Absolutely.
matter if it's in person or online. So.
Absolutely.
I think the other cool thing about it too is you have the ability to kind of, I don't know if cull's the right word, but you get to kind of develop your own fan base to be the folks that, you know, as opposed to just being this wide swath of people and you don't really exactly know how they got there. These
Yeah.
are folks that you have some sort of connection with, or they have a connection with you, and
Sure.
it's a lot better down the road for a long-term proposition to have folks that you know you brought into that group and made part of that community. So
It is. It's strange you say that too, because this weekend when we Wyatt Flores was across the street from us in Oxford, and we went over to his show and it was sold out, like packed. I've never seen the lyrics so packed. And we went in there, and I'm not kidding. He's on stage singing, and all we heard was the crowd just talking. Each of them, they're just, and we all looked at each other and we're like, "Dude, this crowd sucks. They're just sitting here talking."
right. Yeah.
You know, but then every once in a while they would start singing. You know, they knew what they were doing, but it was like this social hour. It was one of those. Well, it's like the people that are coming like at this level,
Right.
the people that are coming to like watch and stuff. They're into it. They dig it. They're not there, but at like a show like that, there's so much herd mentality of people that are talking there that probably have no idea what they're doing there. There's there because other people are there. And I felt bad for him. He was pissed at the end. He was like, "Man, fuck Oxford." he was like, "That crowd sucks." And it is what it is. But
There's been a lot of folks that have left Oxford saying that.
yeah, dude. Yeah, they've had a few bad shows lately over there.
Well, they did that to the football team
Right.
too.
Right. For sure.
Yeah, I've spent my days there, and yeah, they're known to show up at halftime at the game. So,
Exactly. There you go.
So it's not personal.
Yeah.
I do want to ask about, from what I understand, you have a new deal with Edgewater Music Group.
Yeah.
Can you
That's
tell us a little bit about that?
That's really exciting, and that was exciting for me too. This at your happy hour, because I got to meet Jon Kott, which was really cool. He's another one of those that probably a lot of people have no idea who that guy is, and I hope that is not the case very soon, because man, he and his band are so freaking talented. They're literally the one reason why I joined this Edgewater thing was when they showed me Jon, and I was like, wait, he recorded here?
Yeah.
And then when I talked to Jon that night, he was like, dude, Derek and Edgewater literally are the reason I am who I am right now. Like, they helped them find the sound. And anyway, they run this thing. I think it's been in Houston for going on 20 years now. It's a studio over in Sugar Land. And Derek's just and like the way that Jon explained it, he's one of the most talented producers he's ever worked with. That he's almost a savant in a way that he hones in on specific artists that he wants to work with. And so he does these things where he knows how expensive it is. He knows how much he needs to record. So he starts handpicking bands these days, and he'll go through a small group, get them. And if they can't afford to do it, he'll help them with their marketing team that they have, put together the video. I don't know if you saw the video and all that stuff.
Yep.
But like they put all that together. I did hours, days of work to get information and stuff together for them, and they put it all together, and they basically hold your hand, and they walk you into, and it worked for us. It worked for Jon. And he says they have an 88% success rate because they usually pick the bands they know will be successful at it. So
yeah, it makes sense.
We get our mark pretty fast.
So if somebody was interested in maybe helping y'all along in the process, because obviously we know recording's an expensive venture.
Yeah.
How would they, where would they go? How would they get involved in that?
So it's still open. The campaign is still open for like another 16 or 17 days. And the only issue is right now it shows that it's 109% met, which probably I think it's scaring some people away, going, well, they don't need it anymore. But the more we get just means more songs we can record, different things we can try. So they can find a link on the front page of our TikTok, on our Instagram, on our Facebook, the links there. And we're not just asking for the money. There's perks, like they'll get T-shirts, merch. They can have a private show. There's all kinds of stuff. So we're definitely not just asking for people to give us money. You get something in return for that donation. So
Yeah,
I think that's why it works so well.
You know, from at least from my perspective, having the ability to have some sort of relationship with the artist, you know, we talk about how important it is to sell a T-shirt and help you get you down the road. Well, this is one of those examples where you can have a huge impact, even if it's a what you would consider, you know, maybe a smaller donation.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what's delivering the music to the people. So,
Yeah.
like, if you can swing it, it's one of those things where you can really feel like you're part of the team, and also
Absolutely.
it means the world to you
Well, I mean,
guys.
those people, they're literally responsible for us getting to record. Their songs are
Yeah,
basically theirs.
yeah,
It's
cool.
great.
Well, speaking of songs, I think we're at halftime. You have a new one coming out here
Yeah.
Friday, right?
Friday, Thursday night, Friday morning, finally. It
Nice.
only took almost 4 months.
Well, that's the nature of it. So the new song's called Self Defense.
Self-defense.
And assuming that our technology works, I think Soul Gravy's going to pull it up so y'all can get a first listen.
There we go.
This old world's full of mind erasers, great big lies and radio chasers. Well, I do what I gotta do, stay away from people like you. Well, I don't wanna fuss, I don't wanna crawl, and I don't wanna make amends. I don't wanna follow you to the end. You talk about me to all of your friends. When they come around asking me why I did what I did, well, it was self-defense, yeah. You ask me with the look on my face, man, I'm staring across at my replacement. I've seen all I gotta see. I don't know the lines, but I know just what's in between. Well, I don't wanna fuss, I don't wanna crawl, and I don't wanna make amends. I don't wanna follow you to the end. You talk about me to all of your friends. When they come around asking what I did, well, I'm claiming self-defense, yes. In my eyes was a storm. I should have shot that motherfucker down. I had my chance and lost my nerve, and my apologies were now. You took from me everything I had, but I can't forget about that. Yeah, you took from me everything I had, but I can't forget about that. This old world's full of mind erasers, great big lies and radio chasers. I do what I gotta do, stay away from people like you.
Yeah.
Fun. It's
Very
cool.
nice.
So the chat was sounding off on it, and Jeff Canada is in the chat. So
Sweet Jeff Canada.
yeah. I'm having to translate the chat to the to the screen. He's not ignoring anybody. Yeah. So
Yeah. I cannot see any chats.
yeah. but everybody was complimenting it, so that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
clever tune.
Yeah, that's cool, Jeff. Tell Jeff I said hi if he can. Jeff,
He can hear you. He said they got to get a collaboration with you two going sometime soon.
dude, I would love that.
Cool.
He's another one of those that I was a big fan. Like when I got to meet him, I've always been a fan of his too. So it's been cool. That's one cool thing about getting involved in the Texas country is getting to meet people like him and John, and that you're just like, man, I've been a fan of you. Like at your thing, meeting Jared Morris too. I was like, dude, I'm just a big fan.
Lots of fun. Lots of fun.
What can you tell us before we do anything else? Can you tell us a little bit about the song as far as the writing of it, or how any of that came together?
Tell you, it's easy to tell you about this song. My friend Nick Lucasian wrote this song.
Okay.
This is not my original. This is a song that I found. Nick is back. He goes back to my Detroit days. He is just one of the most talented, amazing guys I'd ever met. And he wrote tons of songs and they never saw the light of day. They just did. And I was always stuck on this song. And I brought this song to my band probably 10 years in a row. Like I just kept bringing it to cover just to do it. And just for some reason, just it never hit. And then finally I was just like, fine. I got a hold of Nick, and it'd been, probably 4 or 5 years. I'm like, dude, is self-defense still just sitting out there? He's like, it's just sitting there, dude, doing nothing. I'm like, can I take it? Can I do the song? He was like, dude, if you will do that song, go do it justice. And I was really nervous because whenever I sent it back to him, I was so scared. I don't know if you've ever done someone else's song. It's just not that often that I've done it. And man, he was blown away. He was super stoked. So I think it turned out great. He thinks, I'm guessing. I know the song is about him and his ex breaking up, obviously. So I'm pretty sure that self-defense. I have made sure that it does not mean that he ever hit her. Pretty sure him and the dude got into some stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had a whole movie going on in my head. That's what I was going to ask. So,
yeah, I can only imagine how it is to, especially if it's to record somebody's song, but then somebody that you really pretty well. And
I admire, like he sings the hell out of that song, dude. Like he's got this gravelly, crazy voice. If I can find a version of it, I'll send it to you guys because his version is ridiculous.
Yeah, cool.
So I imagine that is nerve-wracking like that, because I mean, like I even worry about like posting a song that I cover on TikTok and like my half-ass version of a song, and then somebody actually sees it, or something. Somebody tags the real person in it, and I'm like, oh, they're not supposed to see this.
It's just for me.
So I can only imagine when you're actually like really putting the time into it to record something.
Right.
How that would be. So yeah,
it was nerve-wracking for sure. But like I said, he gave it the seal of approval, and it was legit. So
now they have to play it at the show.
Yeah.
Sorry, boys.
John, for us folks that don't really understand the music business, can you walk us through why stuff gets released on Friday, kind of what your strategy is, and the whole single approach? I think it's kind of interesting.
I mean, for me, I don't know. There's other guys, I guess you get away with releasing any day you want, but Friday, I don't know. It's the end of the week. Everybody's going into the weekend. You want that Friday anthem. You get it fresh in their hands. They're pumped. They get out of work. They're ready to go. That's the way that's the movie I get in my head is somebody's, pumped up and they're like, oh shit, for lunch, I'm going to get my car. I'm going to go listen to this new song. Or that's how I like to imagine it goes. It may not go that way, but to me, that's the biggest thing is it's Friday. And that's, I mean, it's me. They get loose.
Yeah, totally makes sense. From a business standpoint, are there any things that are involved aside from obviously you got to put the art together and package it and get it ready to go? But are there any things that you do once the release happens to kind of, help it along?
I mean, other than use social media, TikTok has become the biggest platform for me to push. And then you got to play that fine line where you want to push, but you don't want to push your people away. You want to get new people in, but nothing else. We pitch it to a playlist, in Spotify.
Gotcha.
This time I was hoping I was going to get in with a bigger distributor, and I was that close to getting on with Command Shift, and I was so impatient with the way things were working that I just said no. I'm going to push this one, and we can talk about it next time. I waited too long to get the song out, but I think when you get in with a bigger distributor like that, you got better chances of other playlists that'll help push things along. This one I won't push to Texas radio. I don't think it's a good fit for Texas radio, like Three Sheets was. So I won't be doing anything like that with this one. I'm kind of hoping it just has an organic growth that people share it and push it. And
yeah,
I'm hoping,
Yeah, that makes sense. Without getting too deep into the whole Texas radio thing, which is different than other places. Texas. I tried to explain this to Sol a little bit, and he probably understands it better than I realize. But it is, a song can kind of have its own life through some assistance and help and whatnot. But I don't know that though I really dig that song, I don't know that, at least from my opinion, that would be one that would knock off on Texas radio.
We learned a lot this last time. I mean, I've pushed 3 songs to Texas radio, but this last time was the first time that we actually hired a Texas promoter who was fantastic to work with. But it's a different ball game when you get up there. And to be honest with you, even that song, even Three Sheets, as kind of standardy country that's almost about as country as I'm going to get.
Right.
It was still not as Texas country as like that. Texas country is such a wide term
swath. Yep.
Because people still call Co and Treaty Oak and stuff red, but they're not. And you're not going to hear that on the radio. You're not going to hear Treaty Oak on some radio station that you're going to hear Casey Chestnut or something. I mean, maybe you will. I don't know, but it didn't translate as well as I thought, and it definitely doesn't seem to translate to seats, like to ticket sales, so far from what I saw. When we climbed the charts, we got up in the top 50, which is what I've been told is really good to do with a first real attempt like that. But we haven't seen any dramatic change at shows or anything like that. And that's really that's what translates to me is more people showing up to the shows.
Yep. And speaking of shows, y'all have a big one coming up on the 14th of November. Is that right?
Yeah. Cheatham Street, man. I'm so stoked to play there.
So for those that aren't familiar, could you tell us about Cheatham Street?
Cheatham Street, man. Growing up in San Antonio, that was, George Strait would play there. Stevie. I mean, some of the legends of legends have graced that stage. It's a little shitty warehouse, like a little, and it's like Green Hall. It's like, in that same category of, if you were somebody in Texas country, in Texas music, you were going to hit Cheatham Street someplace.
Right.
So it's a legendary room to get in. I think Randy Rogers owns it now, maybe, or is part owner of it.
Yep.
But it's just a legendary room. It's amazing. And we're playing with Sam Donald. And this is the first show that Sam Donald Band, or Sam Donald and Jon Kott Band, have actually done together as those two. So
that's going to be fun.
It's really, it's important for us too, because we get to play Three Sheets together. Since we have a duet, we get to actually do it live. People get to not have to listen to me sing Sam's parts.
Well, that'll be exciting. So, all right, November 14th, folks. I don't know what time it's starting, but
I don't need
anywhere near San Marcos. Get to Cheatham Street.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I know you two have been buddies for a while, so that'll be cool that you're actually finally get to do that.
It is. It's been a long time coming, man, and I'm so proud of what he's done. He's deserved this. He's worked really hard for where he's at right now. So to get to play shows, to open up for him is an absolute honor.
Yeah, that's cool. And I'm sure the crowd will translate, both ways. Really,
I'm really hoping so, because we push each other so much. I'm kind of hoping that the crowd feels the same way about us. So we'll see.
Yeah, that'll be a killer show.
Yeah.
I'm hoping at least one of you is going to be there. I'm trying to figure out how to get my finger over towards you.
I think it's a better shot that I'm going to be there, but Soul's got a little bit of a,
I'm a little bit
of a
further
hike.
away.
Yeah.
I got to get Soul's got to come up, and I'll come to Oxford and just witness.
I know. I need to.
Yep.
Definitely need to.
We've been keeping him busy. He's been he's had festivals. 3 of the last 4 weeks or
I don't
something?
even know. I feel like I've been on tour.
Yeah, without all the perks, right?
People. Huh?
without all the perks of being on tour.
No. Yeah, no perks. No, I got to use the VIP porta john.
There
You know.
you go. Get the important dumps.
Exactly. The toilet paper wasn't any nicer though. Just
Yes. Pretty sure.
I like to ask this because just different people have different answers, but also kind of similar. When you do opening slots, and you're in front of a crowd that a few people know you, but a lot of people don't. When you see that you're starting to win them over, and the light bulb has went off from the stage point of view, what's your point of view on that?
I mean, that's it. That's that golden moment where if you start seeing people bobbing their heads and they're into it and they're digging songs they've never heard, and you see them. This sounds ridiculous, but it's the day and age we are. You see them pull their phone out and record you, or you see them and they look at like that's what's great. You're like, okay, all right, we're doing it right. This is great. We're gonna get we're gonna see some new followers. We're gonna get some new people, some new streams. Yeah, no, that's. I mean, you got to control yourself right then, though, because it's also the time I'd want to turn around and grab a bottle and just pound it out of enjoyment and happiness. But you got to finish, yeah.
Right.
No, it's great. It's amazing. I mean, I'm still, it's got to be a good feeling, but I'm sure it's a better feeling whenever you see an entire crowd singing all the words to your song. So it's just a baby step up to that step, hopefully.
Makes sense.
Understood. Go ahead. You got one?
Yeah, I got a bunch. So, because your music careers has kind of seen some different parts of the country, probably all kinds of different experiences. What are there any folks out there that you would kind of consider to be mentors or folks that you look up to, maybe even outside of the Texas scene?
I mean, I don't know if I would say mentors or that I'm looking up to. There's people that I'm so stoked to watch what's happening. Like what we're seeing right now in Texas country and in music in general, like for Gavin Adcock and people like that are just exploding on their own terms.
Yep.
And I mean like exploding on their own terms. That stuff is so cool to watch. I mean, I guess I learn from that just by watching what's going on. I'm not specifically watching what they're doing to make sure that I can mimic it or do anything. But I mean, it's definitely, I'm sure I'm absorbing some of that. And, that's how I look, it's a crazy time in the music industry right now. Like to watch what's happening is just bizarre. So
Gavin's a great example. I think, we had him on really early on when we started that other that Country versus Metal podcast.
Did you? Okay, all right.
He was it was his first podcast, and so it's just been wild to kind of watch his thing accelerate. And obviously, he's a guy who kind of he knows what buttons to press, and he's in for probably a pretty wild ride. But
I probably wouldn't push most of the buttons he's pushing.
Right.
But I like watching someone else push those buttons.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
It is very interesting.
I guess this is maybe a different way to ask a question in that area. Is there anybody that you go to for kind of unbiased advice? If you reach out to myself or Soul, we're going to tell you all the stuff that we love, but you also need folks that'll kind of shoot you straight sometimes. Do you have anybody like that on your team, or somebody that you would consider
my wife?
Your wife? Okay.
She is the one person that will never lie to me about anything, no matter whether I want to hear it or not. Or no, I mean, honestly, I think that is something I do bounce stuff off her for sure, just because I admire her. She's a strong woman. She's successful. She's awesome. So I take a lot of what she says, and I may sometimes act like I deal with her. You don't know what you're talking about, but it's in there. I keep it, and I'll think about it. But honestly, I think the fact that it's taken me this long to get where I'm at right now really taught me a lot too, to not listen to a lot of people and not trade what I want to do for someone else's opinions. So I'm really trying as hard as I can these days to not ask if someone thinks this is a good song, to not ask if, I mean, I will bounce off artwork or things like that and be like, hey, you know, I think this is a cool design. But still, ultimately, at the end, I almost always go with what I want to go with. And I'm not doing that to be, you know, I promised myself this time that I wasn't going to write music for someone else. I was going to write it for myself, that I was going to put music out that I wanted to, that I would be proud of. So I think mostly I'm not asking for a lot of feedback and input, I guess. Is, like I said, it may sound bad. It's just, I'm trying to
know what you want.
True to myself, so that if there is anyone to blame, it's me this time.
Yeah, you'll take it, right.
For sure.
From maybe a little different way to ask a similar question, but is there a commonly kind of accepted industry standard that you absolutely don't agree with? Without getting in too much trouble?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't, not really. I mean, there's really nothing that I find that just bothers the crap out of me. And I say, that's just dead wrong. I just don't. And like, again, I try to stay in my lane too, a lot of this time. And if it's right for someone else, it's not right for me. I just don't see anything that makes me, no, I don't, nothing stands out. Let's put it that way. That cool. Gets me into that.
Yeah. Kudos to you on this kind of going with your gut and everything on your own. That's not easy to do in anything. I mean, just again, smaller issues or whatever. But like even my TikTok channel is literally all over the place, and I've had people reach out to me like, "Hey, man, you really should do this, or you really should do that."
I get it
and
too.
I've thought about that, and I'm like, and then in the end, I'm like, I just got to do whatever it is I like to do. Just got to do. So, and I've been way happier with everything. Yeah,
it's yours.
Just because, for better or worse.
I think it takes some maturity and it takes some spine just to do that and
I hate to even compare the two. My TikTok channel is not it's not releasing albums, but I guess my point is I can relate to that in a small way. So.
I'm happy that you do, because you got over 250,000 people following. Yeah, man.
I don't pay attention. I appreciate everyone, but I don't brag on it. So. But no, like you said, if this does well or if it doesn't, you have to be happy with it, and you have to live with it from now on, no matter what. I mean, if it were to be something you weren't happy with, and then it did take off, and you got to sing that for the rest of your career, that would suck too. So there's a lot of ways to look at that. It's not just chart success or whatever too. So
there's happiness involved, man.
Honestly, I think I think if you were to do something like that, and the fans that you've accumulated this whole time would probably see right through it.
Yeah, probably would. Yeah. Very true.
Yeah, they 100%. They would sniff it out, because
that's one good thing
about social media.
It's all right here for everybody. Like there's no hiding from this crap.
Right. Yeah, and I guess if you comment and everything back, then you'd be right in the line of fire. So
yeah,
right. How do you when you do stuff like that? Which I know a lot of the people similar to what Talbot was asking, but now when you post something on socials, even a sample of a song or anything like that, how does that help you get fired up as far as just seeing your folks' reaction and things like that? I mean, that's kind of instant gratification in a way, isn't it?
It is, and it's a double-edged sword, if you ask me.
Okay.
But you know what I'm saying. You put that up and you go, dude, that just got 300 views. What the shit?
I got you.
You're so pumped up. You're like, oh, this is it. So it's double-edged, but no, that gratification that you get is. It's a rush, man. That's a great feeling when you put something out like that, and because I mean, you're in the industry. If you put something out, you're just throwing it out there, going check this out, and there's a good chance people it's not good, or walk away or just don't communicate with it, and that doesn't. I don't care who you are; it's going to hurt a little bit, dude.
Do you? I mean, since we're talking about the social media thing and the numbers, like, it's, I don't know how to ask the question, but at least talk about like the struggle of putting together content, putting it out there without the reaction that you're hoping for, and then and keeping. I mean, whether we like it or not, social media is a huge part of music. So, and growing.
Yeah,
Um, how,
marketing, man.
how do you balance that? How do you just tell the folks that
It,
are watching that don't get that?
it's tough. It has become almost a full time job. Like that's where I have to figure out a way to stop sometimes, because I find myself focusing too much on, because it is, the instant gratification is instant gratification, but to me it still can translate into fans that will listen to your other songs and become fans. And I've met plenty of people that have come to shows because of TikTok. So I know it works. I know it's real. I know it can happen. So when you see that, you go, all right, I've got to spend, it's a valuable asset. It's like having your own record label that you basically, that is promoting and pushing you, but you're doing it yourself. But there is about to be, and I'm trying to stock up stuff right now, because I have to write for this new album that everybody was amazing enough to fund us with their money. So I've got work to do, and that work is not going to be creating TikTok videos. That work is going to be making these amazing songs so that we can get them put out. So there's going to probably be a little bit of a lull in my social media coming up pretty soon, but
Understandable.
I'm a little scared about that.
And when I said instant gratification, I was really more not necessarily thinking of the growing part of your audience, but more of the from the existing, if that made sense. When I said that, I was thinking as far as when you're putting that out there to your already foundation
Sure.
audience, you're getting that feedback from the people that already know you. That's what I had in mind when I was asking that question.
Yeah, it's great. I think those people too. A lot of people are just happy to see me putting stuff out again.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's a big part of it, is that it really helps to get their support and everything. But getting the new fans, it's a whole nother instant gratification.
Understood.
Yeah, it means a lot. I mean, it means a ton. There's been people that have stuck by me this entire time, like fans,
That's
not just
cool.
friends, but fans. So it's been awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I've got two more questions. One of them's pretty easy, and then the other one's rapid fire. So it should be
Let's
fun.
go.
First one is favorite fan story that you can tell.
Fan story.
Yeah, favorite interaction with the fan that you can share.
My favorite interaction with a fan. My favorite interaction with a fan was in Tyler, Texas, when this guy decided to throw a whiskey glass straight at my face and hit me right here. That's the one interaction with a fan that always stands right at the front of my brain, because I've never had that happen before. And it was an interesting end to an evening. It was a pit full of cowboys in Tyler, Texas, and I don't know what happened. This guy was upset with me for some reason, and I had the mic like this, and this rocks glass just came through and tagged me right in my lip. I didn't know what it was. I looked down, and it was a glass, and everybody was pointing their fingers and going, "This dude did it right here." I was standing there in front of about 400 or 500 people, and I was like, I got to figure out what to do. Am I going to be the guy that gets glasses thrown at him for the rest of his career,
Right?
or am I going to go there and set this thing straight? So I took route B, and I got off the stage and went and set things straight. So that was last time I saw that guy at my show.
Yeah. Not everybody should be a fan.
Yeah. Not everybody should be at shows in general.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That dude couldn't handle himself. Yeah.
This is the rapid fire section, so you don't have to overthink these. But first question is Desert Island album. You get one.
Ooh, that's a tough one, dude. I would probably go with Hall & Oates, Greatest Hits.
Oh, all right. Greatest hits.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, you're yacht rock. You're on the beach.
Yeah.
That's the loophole there, is the greatest hits album.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well done.
Uh-huh.
All right. Dinner with one historical figure.
Historical figure or just someone I would want to have dinner with? It's got to be historical.
I think it's got to be a historical figure. Yeah.
Davy Crockett.
Interesting. All right,
Yeah.
that's a
I'm a
first.
San Antonio guy who grew up with the Alamo. We had to.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a connection.
Yeah.
Ideal green room.
Ideal green room that I've been in, or just one that I would want.
Yeah, one that you would want.
Air conditioning, private toilet, shower, Topo Chico, and no Jägermeister whatsoever.
Okay, that's fair.
That's going to throw people off right there.
Yeah, there's a different guy.
Love
First concert, and then first concert that you paid for?
So first concert was Oak Ridge Boys. First concert I paid for with my own money, Grateful Dead.
That's why I like asking that question, Tavo, right there.
Yeah.
That's the because I mean, you would probably have still went to see the Oak Ridge Boys as an adult, but still the contrast between the two that's the whole point of that
That's
question.
the whole thing. Yeah, that's a great question.
Thank you.
Bucket list venue that you haven't played yet that you would like to.
I have two. It's Billy Bob's and it's Green Hall.
Okay, nice. Keep it in Texas. Appreciate that. And then this one's a little more controversial. Last one. Tribute bands, yay or nay?
Nay.
Nay. Anything you'd like to expand on that?
I can answer it fast just because for the years that I did the cover band stuff and still play covers and stuff, tribute bands to me, I don't know. It's just the vibe that the whole room gets with the people and it bothers me. It hits me somewhere weird when I'm hanging out with a dude who's in spandex or teased at costumes and the whole thing. It just takes away from the amazingness of what that band was to me. Like that, I don't know. It seems too cheesy. It's too cheesy.
I'm with you. All right, cool. All right, Soul Gravy.
All right, last question and most important question. You're you've been in the South for a while, so this may be safe. John, what is your favorite Little Debbie cake?
The Little Debbie cake.
Or Big Deborah's, whichever. We don't discriminate.
Was the Nutty Buddy? Was that?
Yeah.
It would be, but that's not a cake.
No, but it's a Little Debbie.
That was Nutty Buddy. If that wasn't in my lunchbox when I was a kid, Mama was in trouble, dude. Either that answer. Yeah. What is y'all's?
Go
ahead.
Mine is a fudge round before Oliver Anthony, by the way, and I pay for my own.
Yes.
Just make it.
We are, John. We are trying to get a sponsorship deal with
Little Debbie.
Yeah, we're working on it. Mine is the oatmeal cream pie.
Ooh, dude, that's a good one too.
Those are pretty good. Yeah.
I can rip a box of those things. Good Lord. That's a good one. I forgot about those.
Yeah, apparently Little Debbie is in Tennessee, so you know.
I saw where y'all is this I saw an episode of Patrick eating a bunch of. Was that Little Debbie? Was that you too?
Yes.
That was my fault. Patrick
had came on the show, and then like 2 days later, all of a sudden, Patrick is like trying to eat all the Little Debbies.
He wasn't really familiar with Little Debbie, so he got really familiar too quick.
I loved it. I watched it. I thought it was great. I showed my wife. It was funny.
He ate each cake, and he complained the whole time he was eating it, but he ate the whole
thing. Yeah.
Was it the Cosmic Brownie? Was that his favorite one? I think.
I'm not sure.
It might have been.
I think it was.
I think it might have been. So
I might retain some weird facts, but I think that was it.
It's funny how that works, right?
It's funny how that if I don't ask that question, we hear about it. It's
you didn't ask.
Yeah, it's gotten to be just as popular as the actual podcast. So
yeah, there you go.
Of all things to be to stick, but it could be worse.
I'm glad to be part of it. I'm in the crew.
The Little Debbie Brigade. All right, man. Well, John, it's been a long time coming. We've talked about this for a bit now. I've tried to make it to Oxford a time or two, and
I still want you to.
I'm still gonna try to get there. We'll do something no matter what. I've got a couple buddies that play down there also, so that'd be cool to make that trip. I don't know if have you ever ran across Joe Austin in the Tallahassees?
No,
No.
no, but I booked 3 rooms in that town. So if they're looking for shows, I'm also someone you should be talking to.
Gotcha.
Good to know.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, John, appreciate it. If I say it every time, if you don't follow John on his socials, please make sure you do. Instagram, TikTok, and actually like, comment, engage in those comments, because a lot of people just wing it, but John puts a lot of time into his stuff. So if you watch it, like, let him know that you saw it. Actually say something. We're all guilty of scrolling on past.
Sure.
And then anywhere you listen to your music, make sure you hit the follow button, so you'll know when he's got new music releasing, like he has coming up. This
Friday.
When was that?
Thursday at 11
This
o'clock.
Friday morning.
Self-defense.
Yep. I appreciate you guys taking notice and having me on, man. It's an honor.
Thanks so much for joining, man. Always good to see you.
Always
Yes,
good to
sir.
see you, my friend.
All right.